Hey parents, how are we doing today? This is Fina Chichi Ikeji. How are you guys doing? Awesome. Okay, so what I wanted to share briefly with you, it concerns the controls that we put in place in our homes with regards to our teens. A lot of parents struggle with knowing what kind of controls to put in, and also struggle with getting their teens to actually understand why they have these controls in place. And I thought it would be important for me to share this week. I'm going to go through different topics this week under the controls. And first bit I wanted to cover today is how can the controls you've put in place make sense to your teens and work for you? A lot of times there's a conflict between the controls we have and our teens understanding why those controls are in place. But here is a big, great tip that I've got for you in this case. So the thing is, when you put a control in place, do you have a chat with your teens about why you've put this control in place? And if you do, what are normally your reasons? And I'll give you a very general example, and that's for in terms of phone usage. So you've got a time and you said, okay, you know what, the control that we're going to put in place for phone usage is that by 9 everyone should cut off from their phones. That's it. Phones put away. That's it for the night. So you've set that in place. So if you're talking to your teens about this now, you're telling your teens, okay, you know what, this is the rule. I've put this in place. That. Okay, what is your reason for putting this rule? Why don't you want them to have their phones after 9 o'clock? And a lot of times, parents, most of the reasons that we give are the things like, just say, for example, the phone. We say because we don't want them overusing their phones. We don't want them getting addicted to their phones. We don't want them sleeping, or not sleeping through the night and just using their phones all night. These are the kind of reasons we give them. But here's a twist, and here's what we can do to make our reasons make sense to our teens. Start this way and say, the reason we're actually putting these controls in place is because I want you to learn to get a balance between phone usage and other activities that you need to do. I want you to be able to grow in your time management skills, because this is going to help you when you get to work. This is going to help you when you set up your own business. So it's the benefits of that you're supposed to really talk to them about, and not the things that you don't want to happen. Does that make sense? That's when it makes sense to teenagers, when you're telling them something, you're giving them, or you're setting a rule or setting a control, but you're giving them the benefits that it does for them. A lot of times we honestly default to the negative side of it, because that's the fear that we have. We fear that if they have the phones and we don't control the time that we get the phones back, then we think of the worst. They would be addicted to it. They will, go to the wrong sites. They will do this, they would do that. Bring it back together and think of the positives. What is the benefit of them having that control? What is the benefit of them learning how to switch off at 9 o'clock? And then do other things, read a book, just have some time, talk or reflect or journal. What is the benefit? And that's what we want our teens to focus on, the benefits and not the fears that we have. Okay, so that's the first bit of how your controls would then make sense to your teenagers, and it will work for you. You wouldn't see, or you wouldn't hear these defenses or arguments of the why are you doing this? It's not fair, it's not this. You wouldn't hear a lot of that, because the reason you have given is of benefit to them, and they can see the benefits and they can link it to where they're growing. So try it and let me know that it works. Let me know, and you will see that there's a difference. There's a big difference between explaining it with the benefits for them as opposed to the fear that we have over it. Okay, so give it a try and let